In this lesson, we're going to continue our look at the differences between beveling edges and fencing edges. All right, so this is the example that we have for this one, just kind of a basic shape, but it's got some turns. It has some outside corners, some inside corners. So let's go ahead and take these, and we'll just move those out of the way. We may refer to those in a little bit. Let's take this one and dupe it, and we'll move it over, and this is the one that we'll work on. All right, so first we'll take a look at beveling this object. So let's go ahead and we'll grab all of the edges that we need. So we'll go around this whole top perimeter. And all the way back to there. We're going to need all of these interior edges. That one, and those, that corner, and all of these running through there, and there, and finally all of those. So let's double check, make sure we have everything selected correctly. All right, so those are all the edges that we want to put a bevel on so it can hold this form a little bit better. Now let's go ahead and go to Edit Mesh, and we're going to put a bevel on there. Go to our bevel node, and I'll put 2 in the segments, and for the fraction, maybe we'll do 0.2. So that'll give us a nice tight round bevel on there. All right, so let's take a look at some of the issues that we have here. All of our inside corners, of course, are going to have this going on. And there's a couple more in there. We've got one there. All the outside corners look good, so there's not much that we would really need to do with those. So let's go in and fix a couple of these. We'll go to this one and we'll grab that big face and then our extra one right there. And then of course we want to make sure that all of these are in alignment, and we don't want to move this one because we know this edge right here is good. So what I'm going to do is, rather than double clicking and going all the way through there, I'm just going to grab these ones. We'll get those moving in that direction and we'll snap it down to there. And then these ones up here, I'm going to go ahead and get those moving in that direction, and I'm going to snap it to that one. So we've got a nice configuration of edges flowing through the corner like that. But we do need to deal with this one as well. So let's go ahead and go to Mesh Tools. We'll grab our multi-cut tool, and I'll split from there to right there. Now we can grab that vert, hold down C to snap to curve, and we can pull that one up. And then last but not least, we can go in and we'll take this and we'll grab our Append to Polygon tool and fill those in like that. So that makes a nice perfect corner for us right there. That's something we can deal with very easily. Those are all good up there. But then we've got these ones down here, and we're kind of in the same situation that we were in. So let's just do this one really fast. We'll grab this face and delete it. We know this one is extra. Now let's grab these 2 verts right here. Looks like we have an extra one down there somewhere. And we'll go ahead and snap that to that one, and we'll grab these 2 and we'll snap to that one. We're going to want to grab this one in the middle here, of course, because it dipped down. We want it to be nice and smooth through there. And then we're left with this area right here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my multi-cut tool again. Mesh Tools, multi-cut, and I'll go through there, and then I'm going to go and I'll snap on 50% on that one. All right, then I can grab that vert right there, hold down C, and we'll bring that back to there. And once again, we'll grab our Append to Poly tool, and we'll go like that. So that fixes that one. These would all be done the exact same way, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to run through and do all of those. But you can see that beveling this actually works really quite well. Now let's go ahead and do another example. Bring this one over here, and let's try fencing this in instead of doing the bevel on it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Mesh Tools, grab my Insert Edge Loop tool, And we'll go ahead and start with those. We know that those need to be held. We've got this corner right here that we need to fence in. Over here we've got that edge, and we've got this edge right here. Okay, then moving up through here, we know we need that one, and we need that one. One right about there. Got one right about there, so that takes care of our corners. And then over here, we'll put one there. That all looks good. That looks good. All right, so some of the issues that we're going to run into is this. By fencing this in, you can see that we've added extra tension back on this surface right here. Now, if I go to the 3 key, you can kind of see what happens. We've added edges very close to each other, so we're not getting that nice round shape that we got with this one back here. So we're kind of losing that shape that we want right there. Now, we have quite a few over here that we haven't taken care of as well. So let's put one there. We're going to need another one about right there. Inside those ones. We're going to need inside those. And then we're going to need them here for that corner as well. Okay, looks like we need one more, not right there, right about there. All right, so we have everything we need to hold this shape. But again, if you take a look at this, when we smooth, we're getting a lot of hard edges on these where we know we want these to be nice and smooth. So in this instance, you can see that this would be a very difficult object to actually fence in. Now, we could go and fix a lot of this stuff, but the plain and simple fact is it's going to take a lot of time. We need to get this down to one edge, and so we can't have these two, but we need to keep the 3 that we have up there. And so what this would entail is we're going to have to go in here, and I'll just start snapping these. So you can see that it's definitely possible to do it, but do you really want to take the time to do it is the thing. So we would need to merge all that information together. Let's go ahead and do that. Edit Mesh, Merge Components. And you can see that it merged a few in there that we didn't want to merge. So I'm going to go over to my Merge Vert node and take that information down a little bit, maybe around there. And you can see that now we're getting a nice round shape through there. But again, it did take some manual tweaking to actually get that done. Now, these ones are all okay. This, we would have to do the same right there. Over here in this corner, you can see we're actually missing one, so we would actually need another one right there. But then the same basic idea, we would need to go in and merge all of those just like we did over there. And then once we get over to this corner, we've got quite a bit of stuff that we would need to take care of. And so, as you can see, you know, it ends up creating a bit more work for you sometimes. Now granted, as we learned in the last lesson, when this thing rounds off, it's going to be nice and flat right here. So if that's a concern, then that's something you're going to have to address. But just do keep in mind that sometimes we're going to need to do a little bit of work to make this actually happen correctly. You know, if we take a look right here, I can just start pulling these down, and actually I have the Merge Vert tool here that I'm using, so I'm just dragging one vert right on top of the other. And so we'll pull these in just so we can see what this does. So we'll get those in there like that. And then what you can see happening here is we end up with a lot of extra geometry in here that we have to deal with. We have a couple of triangles right here that aren't going to work out too well for us, and we can't really do anything with this information. We have to keep those right there. We can't merge this down to there because we need that tension on the surface. So we can't really go with a scenario much like that. So Backing that up, one of the things that we can do in this scenario is we can grab these edges right here and delete them. That does actually leave us with a quad right here, and we do have a quad right there as well. Let's go ahead and merge these ones in. So we'll take this all down to 1 point as well. And I'd kind of like to take this one and move it back a little bit just so we maintain those parallel lines that we were talking about. So one of the things that we can try to do here, I'm not really sure, what we're going to accomplish, but we can grab these two edges and go ahead and delete those. And now we can start separating this just like we did in the earlier lesson where we grabbed our multi-cut tool and we start to split this up a little bit. So maybe something like that. Then we maintain quads there, we maintain quads there. We do have this weird little configuration going on here, so there's probably a few extra things that we could do, like maybe merging that in and that in. And then that would create a quad there and a quad there. So I guess my point here is if you mess with it long enough, you're going to find a really good configuration on this, but it is going to take some time. So that's kind of a look at the differences on a more complex object of beveling an edge and fencing an edge and how we can deal with the geometry. And ultimately, we just have to look at the shape that we're getting and find out what's going to be the easiest approach to it. In this particular case, I think that doing the bevel was a much easier approach than dealing with all of the fencing stuff on here. We didn't carry any of this geometry through, and this one we did, so we might want to go in and delete some of these and use some methods to do that. But for the most part, this was just a basic look at the difference between beveling and fencing an edge. See you in the next lesson.